The thing about me is, the more I realize, I am very much a loner,
Yeah.
and I keep to myself very much of the time. And it's not necessarily on purpose. I tend to be a bit of a workaholic and tend to have an addiction for fascinations to hobbies and interest. So I'm not going to punish myself completely for the matter, but that is definitely how I feel.
Welcome to this week's episode of Lost in the Groove. Thank you for joining.
Segment called American Groove. Yes.
I always forget that we named this one American Groove.
It's all right. It's the same fucking podcast. It's just a different flavor. It's like when you go to the grocery store, you get poblanos or jalapenos. You gotta choose between the two.
This is more detailed. This is American Groove.
Yeah, we're more like, a dry chili. Slow dried chili.
You can hear the plastic of my candy.
You can hear the plastic of my weed bag right over here.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen.
I'm really in the mood for candy. So right now I have a watermelon.
I'm rolling myself candy right now. Yes.
This is a watermelon. What are they? Sour Patch Kid? Yeah, watermelon Sour Patch Kid. They're like,
oh, honey, you going hard, girl. You going real hard.
Watermelon Sour Patch Kid is like almost a guilty pleasure for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I remember life before they created the watermelon Sour Patch Kid.
Honey, we know. You've spoken on an episode entirely about Cucumber Melon bars from Bath and Body Works. So your relationship with quality, and uniqueness is a talent for sure.
They made the watermelon version of the Sour Patch Kid as like a specialty thing. I mean, I could be getting this mixed up with like they used to make these little like spider like sour candies that were like just to do with like when Spider-Man came out. But I kind of feel like the watermelon Sour Patch Kids were supposed to be just like this like one-time thing for like the summer or something like that, and then it like stuck. And I guess now that I think about it, maybe it really was the Spider-Man candies that I'm thinking of. But like, I only say that because I can't find any more Spider-Man candies. I'm like, where are they? But if I could get another one of those little sour Spideys, ooh. But I love sour candy.
Is that what you dream about at night, Karissa?
A sour Spidey?
Yeah, like the cold of night when the wind is at its highest.
What do I dream about at night when the wind is at its highest?
No, I'm being totally sarcastic because I'm literally picturing you like sitting there in a bed, looking like a fucking Tim Burton character, just like chewing on those Sour Patch Kids, and like you hear outside like.
Dude, okay. Speaking of wind, I live in Siberia, basically.
Iowa.
The other day I was on the phone with David and I told him the temperature and he was like, Karissa, it's seriously like 3 degrees different than Siberia. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, do you hear the emphasis on the fuck? Like I was like,
the fuck is like really long in this
fuck.
Case. Yeah, for sure.
Oh, like it is
cold from the netherworld, from like the ice people in like Game of Thrones.
Yeah, it's like I live in the Himalayas. Like if you look around, it's like insane. I could be wrong, but I believe this is one of the worst winters that they have had as far as snowfall.
Clearly.
At all.
I mean, Karissa arrived.
Maybe like 20 years. Yeah, it's absolutely insane. You could ice skate on the streets. I had 3 days home from work because of the snow. People's windows are literally frozen shut. There's like frost like coming in the window seals. It's like on the inside. Like my
don't know about you.
Like, yeah, no, it's insane. I touched the door, the door handle, and it
Oh,
was
okay.
like negative like 10 or something like that. And it burned my fingers, David. Like it was painful. Like I was like, ah, like I was like,
Why?
oh,
Okay. Why would you touch raw metal at negative degrees
because I was trying to
outside?
get the door to shut and I was leaving and I didn't plan for the door to have
Wear
to
a
grab the door.
glove.
I don't have any fucking gloves. I'm from California. I
Dear
got
God.
gloves now, but I
Okay, you
didn't
know
have
what?
any
You know
then.
what? Like, this is
You
just
know, you try and deal with it every fucking day, day in, day out. There's no escaping it. I got some gloves now. I didn't have any then. I don't know. I just try to kind of get by, and then it's like I burn my hand on a door because I touch it for like 5 seconds.
This
I'm
is what
like,
all I'm saying is this is what California does to people. It
no,
takes.
no one should have to live like that. Doors
I
shouldn't
live
be.
like that. I fucking grew up in New York, honey. We had
I don't
snows.
know if it was that cold where
Oh,
the
well, I wouldn't.
doorknob burns your
Okay.
hand, but yeah.
Yeah, it was fucking cold. I mean,
I don't ever remember doorknobs burning my hand when I used to live here before. I mean, honestly, like, this is crazy. It's like this place got like way worse since I left. I don't know. Makes sense.
well,
Everywhere got worse.
oh yeah, for sure. I mean, but like the thing is, people don't get it a lot of times. Like growing up in, like, for example, for me in New York, it was a nightmare. You know, can you imagine like your parents drive you crazy enough and they have an insane relationship and then you're like fucking locked in there for 3 days and you're off school.
Yeah,
So like
yeah.
there's that added benefit. But then you're like fucking locked up with these people. Like what the hell are you supposed to do?
I know you like trying to act like you got something to do. You're like,
Exactly.
but you're like, they all know that you don't have anything to
Mm.
do. And they're like, David!
What?
I know. Earlier, my mom, she's like, I don't know what she said to me. She goes, and I go, okay. And I'm like, fuck, what did she say? Like, I was like, oh no. I was like, I think she said that she was going to put water in the dog's bowl. And like, for me, that's not like a thing that takes like a yes or a no or any type of response. It's like, okay,
Cool. Have
thank you.
fun.
Thank you. Like I'm like I don't know, so I did good. I was like, oh, okay. There was no response
You did
required.
good. You get some checkpoints over there.
My
I
subconscious responded correctly. Yeah.
Girl, honestly, like whenever my mom has those moments, those outbursts, and she's like, "Did you hear what I said?" And I'm like, "Ma, I have zoned out for like the past 20 minutes. I don't hear you. I don't understand a word that's going on." I'm like, I'm totally out there, man. It's like I love you, but I am not gonna listen to you bitch for fucking 10 minutes and process all that information and understand what you're telling me. You know why? Cause I'm stoned. Okay? That's why. I love you, Ma, but sorry.
now now it's gotten the other way around where like with my dad, I have to be like, did you hear me?
Oh god.
And he's like, what? And I was like, you didn't hear me, did you? Okay.
Exactly.
Like, yeah, no, I was telling you that I'm leaving the house. I'll be back. Kitty cat, kitty cat.
She has been an absolute puta this whole night.
Come here, come here, come here.
When I say puta, I mean actual puta. Twixie has been nonstop crying and screaming on the top of her itty bitty lungs at the door. Yeah, we both have our babies. This is my
You
little
got the
baby.
baby. Ah.
This is so yummy.
Mine's upset.
Look how. Do
He
you
doesn't
see?
want me to hold him. Oh. She's like looking directly into the camera, like.
All right, we're gonna put you down. We're gonna put you down. We're gonna put you down. No more. That's it.
So I live in hell. That's a recap on what
Okay.
we were just talking about, but go on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's awesome. I mean, living where Your fucking fingers are free. Skin can just rip off by doorknobs and snow through the fucking wazoo, and people ice skating through the streets. I mean, listen, from what you've told me about Iowa, I can see a bunch of people just rolling down the streets on ice skates. Being good morning, hello.
Hey! Yeah, I have no idea. I
Dear
swear.
Lord, it is a
But
white country, huh?
I could go on and on about weird, strange things from
Oh,
Iowa,
oh yeah,
but maybe I'll get back into that like later in the episode. I was
for
gonna let
sure.
you talk about some normal stuff,
Oh, okay. Are we gonna like categorize things and kind of like go back into the full? Goes like here as a physical understanding for anybody that's
We're
old
gonna
enough to
weave.
remember what this is. We're gonna call this a Rolodex. It is a Rolodex, and the conversations are like little
You need to put
cards.
some new shit in that Rolodex, sir.
I haven't in a while, and then we just roll through the conversation, just like this Rolodex. We roll through the conversations.
It's in the Rolodex.
It's in the Rolodex.
It's in the Rolodex.
Honey, fucking put your tush down and stop licking your ass.
You
Thank
could
you.
save all your passwords in the Rolodex.
Yeah, my my aunt had one, so I kind of wanted one.
They're
And
cool.
yeah.
Yeah. They used to be really important. My dad had one on the desk, or secretary did, or whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I could see that. It's like your own personal phone book because we didn't have digital phone books
No.
inside of our phones that are not just phones. They're
Now,
like phone does everything.
isn't it crazy that I'm going to be 25 this week and I'm old enough to remember when I would need to take a number because, I would need a phone number. My mom would write it on a note and hand it to me, and she would put it with a staple.
Quarter
You
of a
know,
century.
I know that was like the coolest thing. Like you would come to kindergarten with a piece of paper, just safety pinned into your fucking t-shirt.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, they'd safety pin a piece of paper to your clothes. I remember that. Yeah. I remember it happening at different times, but I don't really remember why. But yeah, I remember it being like cool that there's like cuz it's like the paper's so flimsy and but you had like that big coat. It's definitely a winter thing.
the the reason why like I kind of brought this up is because I've started to realize something that it's not necessarily about a generational thing. There is something about growing up in certain periods and having those experiences that really mesh really well. Like, okay, I'll give you an example. I love Gen Xers. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I think like a lot of my friend base, besides you, I mean, you're fucking cool. You're a millennial and you're awesome. But besides you, these are people like in their late 30s, like early 40s. Actually,
The late 30s.
yeah, at this point would be, I think, wait a minute, 79? No, no. I don't even remember the year. Anyway, this is completely off track. What I'm trying to say is the reason why they're really cool people is because with them, from my experience, it's nothing to do about age. You're just talking with a really cool person and you're having a really good
Yeah.
time. And like this whole, like, oh, I can't stoop to your level kind of bullshit. It doesn't really exist with them, you
I
know?
think there's a billion different types of people of
Oh,
every single
yeah.
age group. There's no way to say.
We're talking about, I don't know, our own experience. I'm talking about my own experience, honey. And I know, like, you've
Yeah.
had your own experience. I don't know what the fuck other people's experiences are with this stuff.
Uh,
You
I
don't want to
think
talk about this.
I think a generation of people who knew how to do everything that they needed to do without a phone is different. Like, I think anybody who has lived as an adult went through college without, the internet. I think that it's a different like breed of human. It's just different. These people I can't imagine going to college with I mean, just the little bit of internet that my sister went to college with. Like, and I think about what it was like for my mom to go to school, and she really did have to like copy every single note out of a book in the library. Like they used encyclopedias. Like I feel like it creates like a different type of person. Like you have to have a different level of patience than to like use a search engine and like read up on like what it is that you need to learn about, and like
Hmm.
be able to just pull up digital dictionaries, look through everything that you need, and it's very, very, very different. Like super different. You can check all your answers really quickly nowadays. You
It
know?
it's also to the point where what I was trying to get at too is when you meet somebody and specifically like when you're dating, it's very different now because primarily the way that you're doing it is online dating.
Hmm.
It used to be very common to go into a place, and meet somebody. The problem is now, like, what? You're going to go into a nightclub and bump into somebody and then go on a first date?
It's
Like,
because people don't socialize.
right. So, for me, it's like figuring out the best out of all interests, figuring out like what works best for me. How can I best utilize myself to be more social, and have those connections? It's not easy
I kind of
because
feel like different times in your life are for different things. I can
in
just
what
say
way?
that, like, I spent the early years of my life very, 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 very social. And then, like, I feel like when I got older, I kind of wanted to spend more time with, like, just like a guy or just a best friend or, like just like one. I focus a little bit more in on, like, I wasn't out all the time. I don't know. I feel like being out all the time wasn't always like intentional. It was just kind of like what there was to do. I had this like ongoing curiosity of like wanting to be out and stuff like that. Like I made like a conscious decision to like be like, oh, I don't want to be out as much as I used to. Like it was really crazy how it just eat up like all your time. So as much as I think it's important for people to be social, I also think that it's like, I give props to people who don't need to be around people all the time, or people who are okay with just like, staying at home and like reading a book and cooking dinner with, like a best friend. And,
Right.
I mean, if you and I could hang out around each other, I'm sure we'd have like, a night where we just kind of like collab, make dinner together, like watch a movie, hang out, chit chat, drink wine. I'm sure
Possibly.
we probably would from time to time. I mean, but I think that that's like good quality time, but that's still being social. But it's like, it's not a way that you're going to meet a person. Like if you're single, you're going to be staying single. I think a lot of people meet at work, surprisingly enough. They meet in their careers.
Yeah, I work in a brewery and I love our
Yeah.
customers, but they are many times questionable to many degrees.
Maybe talk about this more. This sounds interesting.
We have possibly we get an interesting demographic. We can get elderly couples, a lot of gay couples, primarily the woke ones. And
What are they like?
oh god, awful. Absolutely. I mean this in the kindest way. Where if your starting conversation with somebody is, "Do you have any vegan options available on the menu?" And I'm
It's
like,
like read the menu and find a vegan option.
"And we have one." And I was like, "We have one. It's called the homicide. It's a hummus with focaccia, whatever." And their response is, "Oh, I see." And doesn't order a thing, just keeps on drinking beer.
Hmm.
It so you can't be open enough with me and and say, well, I wish like this place would I have more vegan options? I probably would have responded where I understand that, but we're not generally a vegan friendly place. You know, they can respond back as any way they want. I don't give a flying fuck. My point is that having the balls to have a conversation with somebody, I respect that. If you can't do that, you're just a woke piece of shit.
Oh, what pieces of shit. I don't see a whole lot of it. I mean, I'm in Iowa, so
Only white people, right?
no, I wouldn't say there's only white
Oh my
people.
god, there's
Like,
non-white people in Iowa?
we have
Dun,
a
dun.
pretty big Mexican community, Hispanic
Oh.
community. Yeah, for sure. I would say, like, out of our brides, like, okay, yes, mostly white people. Because it's Iowa, and that's who had kids. It was a bunch of white people. Last
Mhm.
generation and the generation before him, bunch of
Making
white
white
people
babies.
having white kids. And they have a lot of kids, man. Oh my god.
Little bunk beds for them, all numbered.
Fuck, I don't even know.
That
But
was a
yeah,
that
I
was a
would say
joke.
we had maybe like 10 brides yesterday, and I would say
All Latinas.
maybe 4 of them were not white, so a little bit less than half is
Nice.
is what I would say, or a little bit more than half of people are white.
Can you imagine going from like Mexico to this beautiful dry climate to fucking Iowa? No, nothing wrong with Iowa. It's cold, man. It's freaking cold.
It's affordable, or at least it used to be. But it's like, okay, so like I mean, California can be like the land of opportunity, like for sure. You're like, I get it. But it's also like really fucking expensive and like really goddamn difficult. And so, like, when I think about people who like are, because there's a lot of refugees in Iowa, I feel like people who come here from other countries, like, it's, I mean, other than the weather, it is a pretty good life. Like, you've got like pretty good opportunity. You can, manage. You can possibly eventually buy a house. Like, if you work hard, like, it's not gonna like kick your ass. Like, you could eventually get a car and afford car insurance and like do things, and they take good care of people, and you don't have to have any type of citizenship to get medical care here. If you just go down to the clinic, they'll just help you. They have like a really nice hospital that they just put a whole bunch of money into. So
This is the part where
yeah, it's
all
not
of New
bad.
Yorkers' jaws just drop.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying is like I kind of feel bad for people who moved to America from other places and ended up in Los Angeles or big cities, New York City, but I can't
Chicago.
I can't totally feel bad for them because like that is a really great opportunity. But at the same time, like I do feel kind of bad for him because like, this is like a really easy place compared to that. Aside from how goddamn cold it is. I know that we have a lot of people who moved here from I don't know which like countries in Africa, but people who like don't use air conditioning because like they're used to like really really hot weather, and so like they'll have an air conditioner and just never turn it on. And I know that there are like a lot of apartment buildings that these people moved into because like there was some type of government thing where they had like housing for people to move into, like affordable whatever. So a lot of these people all live kind of in the same area, and they all have like a similar lifestyle, which I guess is probably like really nice. But they like
I'm
this whole
smelling a
like
little segregation over here, but
that's what
get,
I mean, like it's not segregation.
I
It's like
mean,
a housing environment was
I
provided
understand
to
that, but honey,
people
that
who
that is a
moved there.
level or form of segregation.
I don't think it's segregated. Like everybody has the opportunity to go one way or the other. It's not like there's any like rules saying like
I understand
you're
that,
not
but
allowed to go other places. It's more like this was just like provided to these people.
I
But what I was saying is that they don't use any of their air conditioning at all, no matter how hot it gets. So I cannot imagine what it's like for people who are used to such extreme heat when we have just like the coldest shit in the world right now. Like if I think that it's really really cold, whoever moved here from, where they're used to really hot temperatures must just be like, what the fuck is this? Like, and it's crazy. It's like a foot or more of snow. There's like 3 feet of snow on the sides of streets. Like, it's just shocking. Like, I've been in shock over it. Like, people have been like legit just snowed in.
Okay, I understand the shock and the hysteria of the snow and the conditions. I do want to go back to the fact of segregation because I understand where you're coming from. But here, try to look at it from this perspective where if you have a group of people, solely a group of type of people living in one area and one area only, that is a form of segregation.
Well,
Now,
go ahead and Google segregation because you're using it wrong.
I understand that, but I do feel like I don't. Gotta be careful with my words. What are you Googling? What are you doing over there?
The definition of segregation.
Ooh, okay. Let's hear it. I'm ready. Let's do it.
Well, I mean, like, its broad definition would just be, and I'm trying to think, like, okay, so what you're saying isn't totally off with this definition. The action or state of setting someone or something apart from others. Yeah, there's an apartment complex that was set aside. I mean, maybe even like built for these people. So it is set aside. But I think that segregation has a negative like intention, like, but this is like providing homes for people that otherwise
For the
would be
time,
dead.
okay, for the time being.
So it's not negative. It's like they have a free home, basically.
I understand that, but right now, temporarily, this is a positive situation. However, if we look at this from the long state of view, let's say 5, 10 years into the future, it doesn't make as much sense because what you're doing is not only will you be limiting these people. Okay, I'll give you a great example of this. All right, in New York, one of the biggest problems that we had with segregation is everybody started living in their own communities to the point where there were Latin communities of kids that did not speak a word of English, didn't know how to read English, didn't speak it, nothing. They had no assimilation or connection to anything but somebody that spoke Spanish or was from their community. So to a degree, these people have been segregated for a variety of reasons,
Well, I mean, the
poverty and
people here will
crime.
go to the schools here. They'll hopefully get jobs here.
No, I understand that.
Like they don't get to just stay within their community completely. Like they're still going to have to interact with the outside world.
To a degree.
Here they'd have to, the kids would have to go to school. I don't know. I don't think they get to just like, unless they eventually open up their own school or something like that. There's like there's a school here that's like, I don't know, like Amish people or something.
You
They've
have
got
an
their own
Amish
school.
school? Are you serious?
It's got a name on it. I've read it before, and it's like maybe it's like a Mennonite school or like it's like something. Like I've driven past it before and been like, oh, okay. Like I don't know what that is, but I kind of know what that is. Like
I remember once I ran into Noah Heights. Do you know what that is?
no.
Okay. So there are people that believe that in the ideology of Noah. So Noah had these 7 commandments, let's just say. So the thing in Judaism, this is bananas. We're going to talk about how
How do
crazy Judaism.
the how do the Jews feel about Noah?
he was considered like the savior, in a way. Like he was the one that, saved all the animals and the species, blah, 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 all that bullshit and crap. But anyway, getting to the good stuff is where, as Jews, we believe that a good Gentile is someone that follows the 7 laws of Noah. So this is just understand this. As a religious Jew, your belief is that a good Gentile has to follow those 7 laws. So if you don't follow those 7 laws, as a Jewish person, you're considered a bad Gentile.
And it's up to you guys to decide
Correct.
who's a good Gentile and who's not.
Who's a bad one?
Why are you guys judging us?
I'm not the one that's judging.
No, I know it's not you.
No, it's not.
Why are they judging the Gentiles?
It gets even crazier, man. I was talking with my boss, Andres, the other day, and I was telling him this. We Jews also believe in what's called an apikoros, right? So repeat after me.
Apikoros.
Chorus. What is that? An apikoros is a person that is non-religious, and they make sure that whatever they're doing is against God. So any laws or commandment that they're breaking is against God, and so forth. To the point that there have been arguments, through Jewish scholars about, how genuine of an apikoros can you be? Okay, this is wild. So, if you actually is doing it against God, to what level or degree of how much he's, putting forth and so on. As a non-religious person, who gives a flying fuck? It's a cheeseburger. You're not fucking thinking about God while that thing's going down your throat. Like, who gives a shit? But anyway, I love Judaism for this because it's so funny and ironic and cool at the same time. It's amazing.
Thank you for sharing. I've been eating more candy.
Good. Get those sugar,
Oh my god. I really, really like these. They're called nerd gummy clusters.
Cool.
See it? This is what you want. It's a gummy cluster with nerds stuck to it. You know what they've done here? There used to be nerd ropes. And instead now they're just in little balls. Oh my god. Stoner approved.
I believe that what you're eating is like the equivalent of the everlasting gobstopper, because the company that funded the Wonka movie, I believe, was General Mills, and they had a problem with one of their products that they pulled off the shelves. But anyway, point being is, like, it's just bananas sometimes with these candy companies. And these just, they act like little buffoons sometimes. But anyway, point is, the everlasting gobstopper is kind of like, I don't know if this is true. I'm not Googling this to check this, but that's what I've been told. Are you writing things down?
I wrote a note.
Oh my god, I feel like I'm in like fucking, 7th grade, and my teacher's like, Dave, we're gonna have to talk.
I'm such a little I've been writing notes a lot, but okay,
I love this.
Rewind before I brought up the thing about the candy we were talking about. We were talking about this person who intentionally goes against God, or
yes,
or how does it work?
An apikoros is someone that is non-religious, and the mitzvot, the commandments that they break, they have to do them due to spiting God.
Okay, but I just think that's so crazy because it's to make your decisions to make your decisions. If you're not religious, then why even take the time to make your decisions based on God or not? Exactly. Does this make sense to you? I'm just So you're still like, okay, you're a non-religious person that is making your decisions based on what God would hate, which is like not really doing what you yourself wants or needs or what's good for you or like anything. Like it's like totally off course for like what would be like soothing to you as an individual. Like
Yeah, and it's funny because I remember when I was explained what an Apicurus was, the way that they said it was they didn't mention the non-religious part. But honestly, think to yourself, any person that is religious, that goes out to do commandments, to despite God and spit in his face or her face or they face, whatever, or Zer, doesn't really make a lot of sense, does it? So what you're saying is, and this is how I translate it is, you don't want to call them a non-religious person. So therefore, you make this thing up called an apikoros, that in order for them to be classified as being anti the faith, anti the God, anti everything, it has to be, you know, to spit in God's face, whatever the fucking, I don't know. I'm trying to sound poetic. It doesn't really.
I don't think that it has to be intentional. Like
Exactly. Like I
but
said,
it could be
who thinks about God while eating a cheeseburger? Unless like the fucking char marks on there looks like Jesus Christ. Like I don't know.
because eating a cheeseburger is sinful because there's the meat and the cheese at the same time. Is that what it
Oh, that shit
is?
fades like after like 6 or 7 months.
I don't know. I hope, you know, that my
Hope?
soul I hope that my soul is doing good. I think it's good. And that's the best I can do. Like people get all wrapped up in that shit. My mom, she talks about it, it gets weird. I don't know. I remember, didn't I tell you everybody's talking about end of days and crap at the Baptist church in Florida and Armageddon?
Here's the life lesson, kids. The world is a lot older than people, and it's been around a lot longer than we have. And there's been a lot of civilizations that have gone before us. So, if we all disappear, doesn't really matter.
I know. I can't live my life based on any of it or like.
But honestly, think about that for a second, because this is, and again, now, I'm not trying to diss religion. This is just my perspective. When you realize how small you really are, it doesn't mean that you're meaningless. All it means is that the universe doesn't need your opinion. Doesn't need your opinion. Doesn't need you to fucking rip off your fucking bra and scream climate change. Doesn't need you to do that. It really
Which is
doesn't.
freeing. It's really freeing if
It
you
is
let it
freeing.
be. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, for sure. I mean, if you're gonna just rip the bra off, honey, just
No.
go for it.
I mean, the world not needing
Oh
your
shit,
opinion is a freeing thing. Like,
I
let
was
it
totally
feel.
stuck on the bra. Yeah,
No, it's true, but it's like, let it feel good. Let it feel good that the world doesn't have to have your opinion. Like, I feel like it's a pain in the ass to be putting your opinion all over everything. And I guess it takes people growing up to realize that or whatever. But I totally agree with you, David. It's like
you don't need
the
religion
world.
for that too.
The world doesn't need your opinion. Like, I don't know. I think like, it's cool to have like a relationship with God, or it's cool to have like an inner a way to find peace, or like, and whatever that is for you is a good thing. Like as long as you're doing a good thing and you're thinking positive thoughts, and if that means, talking to a
I don't know
god
about. I'm
or
always thinking about
whatever.
positive thoughts, but yeah,
Well, I mean, yeah, sometimes we got to be like, man, fuck this, just to like get
yeah.
over
Fuck the
stuff. And
man.
yeah,
In my
I hope
case,
that
it's legit, huh?
I hope that we got our fuck record up today on this episode. I want to break maybe 10 fucks. How many do you think we've gotten so far?
We've probably gone over fuck more than 10 times.
Did you even need to put that fuck in there?
No, No. I mean, there are so many other wonderful curse words out there besides fuck. You know, there's let's see, there's bitch and cunt, which is one of my favorites. Motherfucker.
That's just fuck again. But with mother before it. I like it for fuck's sake or fucking A. What I always thought was a cute one.
Well, as a New Yorker, my favorite is get the fuck out of here. That's the best. It's the
Yeah.
best. It's the best. I'm telling you, it's the best.
So cold.
Oh,
So
are you
cold.
still on that fucking girl? Get one of those. Listen to me.
You have no idea. I got into the car and it was like the
Jesus
seat.
Christ.
The seat.
Jesus
And I had
fucking Christ.
David, don't
What?
yell at me.
I'm not yelling at you. Get a fucking like room heater or something. I don't know what to tell you.
I had to preheat the car, and it still was kind of bad.
Oh God, you have to preheat the car.
It's taken over my life.
So here's the thing. Living down in Florida, we don't have to preheat our cars. We have to dehumidify our cars because it is so fucking humid out here. You can slice that shit with a goddamn knife, okay? It could be fucking 65 degrees outside. You get in your car and you schwitz. You schwitz like a goddamn dog, okay? Why? I don't know, because there's fucking water in the air.
It's like you're driving around in a greenhouse.
Oh, it's so bad. But like cold is bad too. Cold is real bad.
I'm sorry, I brought up cold again for like the 8th time.
No, it's okay. We brought up fuck, we brought up cold. We touched on dating a little bit, which we never talk about. Never.
We were gonna talk about dating.
No, God.
I don't know if you wanted to talk about dating.
I mean, yeah, well, sure.
We talked about how a lot of dating is like online and how it's kind of hard to like meet people like out and about. Yeah, for me it was like a combination of both. And I've kind of heard this from people where it's like a little bit of a combination of both, where it's like they were on the dating app and they like saw a person, you know, and like they matched, but like it didn't really go anywhere. But then like a few weeks later, like a couple months or a year, like whatever it is, like they end up at a place where they see that person and they like remember their face and their name and they're like, oh, you know, or like they have a mutual friend with that person and they're like, oh yeah, we matched on a thing, you know, or vice versa. The other way around, I've seen it too.
This sounds like something that has either happened to you or somebody that you know.
Yeah. My friend Lexi, that's kind of how hers happened, but I've heard it from other people too.
I see.
But I've heard it the other way too, where it's like people would maybe not hit it off in regular life, but that's because like they never run into each other. Like me and the person that I were dating, we noticed each other because we knew each other from real life. We noticed each other on the dating app. And it was like, hey, don't I know you? And it was like, so it's like a combination of kind of like both, which I think happens and works for a lot of people on a dating app where it's like, wait a second, aren't you friends with like my friend? But like, because they started kind of like talking on the dating app, it starts them off on kind of like a, so you're single? Like, what's up? Like, yeah, I haven't banged in a long time either.
Amen to that, girl. I went on. I told you this. I went on my first 2 dates in the past year and a half, and then before that was like 3 years or something, and change. And it was a weird experience because, like, the first guy I was with was incredible, but he was just so young. Like, he reminded me of my nephew. Okay, and he's 14.
No, that's not good.
It's not good.
Or is it? No.
No. And then, honey, I am not looking for any kind of prison sentences right now. I need to pay my rent.
No.
I need to pay my rent like right now.
Okay, I mean, I probably shouldn't even bring it up, but somebody showed me a clip of there being like a temple or something in New York that got like broken into, and there were like tunnels or something that were like revealed. Have you heard about these things?
Mm-hmm.
What is this, David?
So
Do you know who these people are, by the way?
yeah, so they're called Chabad. It's located in Crown Heights, which is a part in Brooklyn. So Chabad is a group of the Hasidic community. They're a sect of Hasidus, and their rabbi or rebbe, he passed away in 1994. So he had plans of renovating 770, which is located in Crown Heights, and that's where the synagogue is. And the problem is there's been litigations and problems across the charts where they haven't been able to do any kind of construction or anything like that. So what recently has happened is there have been tunnels, and they've been smuggling in materials to do those renovations and fixing. So the truth about the tunnels have been in New York for probably, I don't even know how long. They have been primarily used as smuggling lines throughout New York City. Okay, so if people are not aware of this, in New York City, there primarily exists three types of mafias that control pretty much everything across the charts. There's the Russian mafia, there's the Chinese mafia, and then there's a mafia group that's run by the Satmar. I'm not going to mention their name because they
Yeah,
will
but
come
what
after
about the
me.
Italians?
The Italians, they still have a mafia group, but primarily what they deal with is casinos and money laundering. They don't really do any big things anymore because of the problems and issues that they've been dealing with. But what does this have to do with anything? And I'll explain. So the Satmar Mafia group, they help out the Jewish community by giving out funds. And what somebody told me is, and again, I cannot fact check this, that what's basically been going on is that there's been groups within 770 that have been having discussions with this mafia group, been getting money going back and forth to get some of the work and stuff that they need to get done. I don't know. That's what I've been told. But it's just another thing to keep in mind about the community. Hey,
do you
am I boring you to fucking sleep?
do you think that there were any children that have been harmed in that area within, the
I don't know.
last, yeah, no
But
idea.
what I can say is that this is bananas. The Sodmer Mafia, they primarily deal with prostitution and human trafficking.
See,
They deal with human trafficking.
that's a problem.
Yeah, that's a very big problem. It- saying it's all in the name of bettering the community, come on. They own most of the gentlemen's clubs in the entire five boroughs. So most like clubs you go to see like strippers and whatever, and like even like brothels. Oh my god, I really am putting you to fucking sleep. I'm so sorry.
Well, no, my neck is always fucked
Oh, I'm
up.
sorry.
But I'm curious. It's like, don't they consider themselves like religious people? Don't they think that they shouldn't sin? Why provide places of sin to people?
They believe that them because as religious people, they don't delve into that. So the way that they look at it is that it's a Gentiles' place and where Gentiles go to do their thing, and they're just, a business owner.
I know, but like honestly, like if you don't put a bunch of bars near a bunch of reservations, you're not gonna have as many drunk people, you know?
It's crazy, but it's kind of the many reminders of, even as myself growing up there, is understanding of how these communities have learned how to survive. The reason why the Italian mafia exists is because the Italians were struggling and dying in New York. The reason why the Irish gangs existed was because the Irish people were suffering and losing their work.
It's a good point.
All of these organizations started for a purpose to help. And with all their intentions, that has led to murder, situations that we don't want to talk about on this podcast. And
Or do we? No, I mean we talk about it without
yeah,
talking about
we're
it.
talking about really gruesome stuff that some of them will do to each other. They're like, we don't need to get into details. We don't. But again, like, talking about from like place to place, going from like, like New York or even to like Iowa, two different environments, two different cultures, and two different ways of how immigration is treated. New York has always been like, yeah, 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 we're all fucking immigrants. Get used to it. Yeah, I'm white. I'm Irish. What do you want? That's New York mentality. Everybody's immigrants. Everybody's fucking hippies. Everybody's fucking yuppies up their asshole. Somebody wants to be something. Who cares?
I don't know. I'm
I
creeped
love New
out.
York.
I'm like genuinely creeped out by like the I guess since I left Iowa like 10 years ago, I left here like pretty naive, and then I went out into the world and I learned a whole bunch, and so I come back to this place where I was
10
very
years ago.
naive, 10
Yeah.
years ago, where I just didn't know very much. And I wondered to myself earlier today, like how much bullshit did I believe? How many times did people lie to me, and I just took it for face value because I thought people were decent people who wouldn't lie, like, and I was just wondering like how much of a fool was I when I lived here. It was kind of a thought that passed through my mind, and it's just a way to kind of think to yourself, and just double check, I guess. This is what I'm saying. I'm kind of checking with myself, like, oh god, like it's very easy to be fooled.
No, it is. And you bring up a really good point because I was talking with somebody that I work with. She's really, really cool. And she said that one of the things that is kind of lacking is common sense, where you can't necessarily believe everything that you hear, but you are entitled to your own opinion. And you are entitled to argue that opinion that you believe. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think the problem that comes in is with fear mongering, is when you feel too terrified to speak your truth. Like, I'm not some Buddhist or fucking hippie here to tell you like the world is at its end and like come we all let's be peaceful. Like, I don't give a flying fuck about that shit, man. It's like all I expect from somebody is be yourself. And if you're a decent person and you have common sense, I think that is something that most people are capable of.
It sounds to me like a lot of people are not decent people. I mean, I get really creeped out by the mafia being really experts at prostitution and trafficking and creepy shit like that. And that's what I mean. It's like I grew up like, pretty naive. I kind of thought people are good people. And now that I've seen more of the world and I realize that like there's, people who make all their money off of that and people who have no problem like, completely blocking out the type of people or how much pain they're bringing upon people, or like it just doesn't uh, work, so it's like I wonder how much of this shit was going on around me when I was younger, is what I was trying to say, is like,
Yeah.
how much of it did I just not even see, and is that where all the missing children went and shit, like because there were pictures, up like when you leave the grocery store
Yeah.
and shit like that, and it's like,
Unfortunately, Yeah, unfortunately, a lot of those kids that you saw on those milk cartons, they were trafficked.
Yeah, I know. And it's like we always just lived in this idea that everything's okay, but from what I hear, and with all this crazy shit in the news about Epstein, late 90s, early 2000s, pretty bad as far as people getting away with like weird, creepy shit.
For sure.
And so, I mean, that's kind of the time that I was 14 years old at that exact time. So I feel like, yeah, everything was like really, really sexually charged. I don't know, maybe it's still like that. Maybe everything's really sexually charged, but I remember everything was about like Britney Spears and her boobs. Like that was pretty much just that's what everything was about.
It's interesting because we both have almost like a parallel indifference because my I grew up very secluded. But what happened for me in a
My
way,
life was Britney Spears and her boobs, and you were secluded.
I was secluded. But when I was a teenager and I started to go to high school, because of my predicament and because of the situation that I dealt with at home, I was exposed to drugs at a very, very early age, crime, and things that I probably shouldn't have seen until I was older, but I already saw. And it kind of opened my eyes in a way, I feel, because I got to see what the world was, to see a 14-year-old sell fucking crack to a stripper, $40. It was like,
That's
it
some expensive crack.
was a lot of crack. It was a lot. Like,
Not
you,
that I know. I'm just saying.
yeah, I'm sure she was sharing. Sure, it was not just for her. I'm sure it was for other people. But oh my god, this fucking cat. It's a hard predicament because when you're faced with what the world really is, you can okay, make up your fucking mind, okay? You put your ass down over here or shut the fuck up. Meow is not an option.
You
Um,
like my new shirt?
I love your new shirt. I love how we went from all seriousness. Okay, come on. I'm gonna whoop you. I put that.
Is your birthday on Thursday?
Yes.
That's pretty
Unfortunately,
cool.
this year I'm not celebrating though.
What are you're not gonna do anything? You just going to work?
Gonna work, doing my thing.
Maybe somebody will like make you like a cupcake or a cookie or something.
Oh, actually, I think I do have a date on Thursday.
Oh, we were talking about dating and then we started talking about
Depressing shit. Yeah,
trafficking. Yeah, I'm
yeah.
sorry.
No, it's okay. I mean,
You went
this
on 2 dates, the one was too young.
the other one, personality, everything was there. Just no attraction.
Yeah. You couldn't picture yourself sucking on their dick.
Yeah, in a very explicit way, Karissa. Yeah, exactly. But he was a one. I mean, he was absolutely wonderful. I mean, we did like literally. It was a date that I would have done. We were actually kind of like talking about this, like almost in a way he was me. So that I think that's also kind of what threw me off. Is like in a way I'd be dating a version of me, which is kind of weird. But that's the thing about it is it's like you can't just try it once or twice. You have to keep on doing it. You gotta, it's like when you try ice cream, for the very first time. There's different
Mm,
flavors. You gotta go through some of it until you find exactly the one that you're looking for, or
absolutely.
to a level. I mean, nobody's gonna be perfect. Nobody.
Also, like I said, like you don't really even know what kind of flavor you like the most yet.
Exactly. Till you
I like
find it.
that shirt. That's cool.
Oh, I got this at Nordstrom Rack. It is a thick T-shirt. It's thick. So I love me some thick T-shirts. They're
I
the
like
bomb.
the Cupid.
Yeah, and yin and yang. It says obey, and it says obey nothing, love everyone.
Yeah.
And
I think I wonder who came up with the Cupid. It's kind of just like a weird, strange, like it's a naked baby, but it's not like a baby like mentally. you know? It's not an actual infant. It's like a grown up in a baby body that like flies around and has some type of like magical power, right?
Are you,
I think
are,
the
you, are, you, are you talking about the? She's having a moment.
yeah, I am. I'm high as hell.
We're both fucking high as hell. It is an interesting depiction. I believe it comes from the Renaissance era, if I'm not
Mm.
mistaken.
Oh, it's got to be like ancient Greece, dude.
Oh, the babies.
The cupids. I was thinking about it because I was trying to think of all the different Valentine's Day cutout cookies that I could do
Mm-hmm.
for Valentine's Day, and I was thinking like, what else do you do other than hearts, you know? And I thought like I could do like X's and O's. I don't
That'd
know.
be
Can you
really.
think of anything?
That would be really cute. You know what you could do? Do you remember the little? Remember the little heart candies? There were these little heart candies, and they used to say like "Be mine" or
Oh
like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
you could make those into sugar cookies. So a really fun thing you can do, you can get sugar cookie mix. Like Duncan Hines, they have a really good one. And then you do is you get like little cookie cutters. And then you can fill them out with like any color you want. You can get like a teal. They do. They have like you can get like a teal frosting or something like that, or like a canary yellow. And you get like, little tiny like little what do you call those? The points that are on the end of the bags.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't know, like a tip, but
Tips, yes. And you could just play around and like trust me, if you do that with like, somebody that you're dating, it's a really fun activity to
ooh.
do. You can like
Okay.
bake sugar cookies.
Yeah, okay, so we can make
You,
like little heart cookies that look
do, you,
like the
do you see this?
yeah, it's super cute.
She's having
With little like sugar candies that are shaped like hearts that are like pastelly, they're like mints and they
they're
say like
amazing.
be mine or whatever on them.
Mm-hmm.
You ever see the ones that are like the adult version and they say like just like like really like sexy things on them, like lick me and
Suck
like
me. Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Or I don't know what all they
yeah.
say, but it'd be funny to like make a
There's
bunch of normal cookies and like hide like a really bad one in there.
ooh. I'm sorry guys. When this little cat gets anxious, this is what happens.
That's okay. My Louie's like asleep. Tomorrow's my day off work. Very
Tomorrow's my double
excited about
shift
it.
day. Woot woot.
Oh, fuck.
I start at 7:30 in the morning.
Damn.
Hmm.
Well, why the fuck do you need to be at a brewery that early?
It's not a brewery. I work in the cafe right across the street.
Oh, how's that going?
It's going great.
Oh, yeah?
Hmm.
Is that it? Just great?
Well, I don't know how much I can talk about, because
On the
like,
podcast because
yeah, because like
everybody's
I
going to
just
tell everybody?
right, like I can't really like reveal names and things unless like I talk with
Is
them.
that all you want to do is talk about people and their names?
Well, no, I mean, I can tell you other things. I mean, they have a fantastic menu. They're called Synth and Co. They're in Oakland Park. They're right across from Black Flamingo. Oakland Park is in Fort Lauderdale if you're visiting down here. And they've got great coffee, an awesome
Ooh.
cold brew. They've got a bacon breakfast sandwich, which is amazing. And they've got a great selection of baked goods that are
Okay.
absolutely fabulous. Oh, actually, they have a seasonal horchata cake. It is so good. It would be. I was telling him I was like, I would just like pour just 12 spiced rum all over that slice of cake.
Hmm. What are the hours for that place?
I am currently there like a 5 to 6 hour shift, and then my other job I have my normal shift.
But I mean, like, how long is that place open? Like, is it open as late as the other one that you work at?
No, so they're
Yeah.
open, I believe, from 8 until 4.
Yeah, so they're more of like a morning-ish place.
Lunch.
Yeah, morning and lunch. So it's really cool. Yum yum. Dude, I miss Florida. I miss that shit for real.
I don't blame you, man. It's
I miss Florida so bad. Look at me in my tie dye. I was just there. Yeah, it was amazing. I was
where did you get that
drinking
tie dye?
Parisi's lattes. Shout out to the god of espresso and cannoli. Um, my shirt is from a place called the Old Salty Dog. It's like a restaurant slash bar that is down near my sister's house. And we can take Louis and like sit on the patio or whatever, but it's where my other tie-dye t-shirt came from. But when I go back down to Florida, I'll get you a tie-dye t-shirt
Well, we're gonna have to
from
drive
there.
all the way there, honey. It's like 3 hours.
No, I'll just get you one and then somehow I'll like get it to you, like a mail it or something like that.
Isn't that bananas that I drove, I think, 2 hours or something to you?
It's amazing. I think it's really good.
Yeah, this time I got a convertible to do it, driving through the Everglades.
Yeah. I need to get a car. I need to. I really do.
You need a car?
Yeah, so I kind of want to like drive around, drive back from Florida or some shit like that. I have no
Damn.
idea.
You need to get. I keep on telling you, honey, you need to get yourself like a goddamn Subaru or something, you know?
Yeah, especially after this like crazy snow shit. I'm like, I'm getting me like something with like a four-wheel drive, like, I got this thing for like Jeeps right now because of the ducks. I like the duck Jeep situation. The Jeeps, I've seen them. They're out like driving around in the snow. My mom's car, I kind of want one of those too. But it slid on the ice like a little bit, two or three times today, a couple times the other day.
Does it have
But
four-wheel drive?
yeah, it's still like if I hit the gas like too hard, it'll like slide. So, you have to kind of like ease into like
You have to
starting
pump
up.
it.
It's fucking crazy,
Mm-hmm.
dude.
It's
It's
actually
exciting.
kind of hilarious because we used to get very heavy rains in New York. So one of the tricks is that you have to pump your brakes.
Yeah.
It's kind of hilarious because like I do
Go
that out
back and
here.
forth.
Yeah, yeah, and like out here, a lot of people don't know how to drive in the rain, and I'm like one of the only few people that knows how to drive, and I'm just like, it's so funny because people like just start slowing down. I'm like, bro, you can drive 40 miles an hour when it's raining. It's okay. You're not gonna kill anybody. Just be smart.
It's been really exciting. I'm
Talking about cold
surprised.
and yeah.
No, I mean just the dealing with how fucking insane the weather's been, like not knowing if I'm going to work and stuff like that. It's honestly given me like quite a bit of stress. And I haven't gotten to drive my own car, which means I can't like smoke, out in my car, and that's kind of sad. I miss my car. So, yeah, I don't know. It's been a little bit of like extra
You could smoke in
stress.
your room, honey.
No, I can't. She'll be like, "What the fuck?" But I can smoke this little guy. But I'm curious, like, if it's supposed to
Yes.
like snow down a whole bunch again on me or not. I don't know.
I don't predict the weather, and unfortunately, I don't control it. So I would love to help you in this situation, but I think I'm not the right person.
No, 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 you're good. I'm just worried, man.
If you
But it
haven't noticed,
is.
Twixie changed positions. She went from the shoulder down to my hand, and yeah, just had to tell you. I
I don't know. No, it's good. For some reason, yesterday and today were like -8,
oh
and then
god,
tomorrow it's only 9 degrees, and then
oh only 9.
it warms up to 20, and then on the weekend it goes back down to like 3 or 4 degrees, and then next week on Monday and Tuesday it goes all the way up to 37 degrees.
So in Fahrenheit, which is bullshit, That would be above 32 degrees, which means that it is no longer freezing. Because, anything below 32 degrees is considered freezing. And
That's what we need, and that's why they like haven't melted all of the ice on the streets, and that's why the streets are like ice rinks, and that is why like just because everything's frozen, like if you melt all the ice on the street, it's honestly just gonna like solidify even worse than it already is. So we have to just wait for the temperature to change before we can melt all of it, because like they've got like salt and like different like chemicals that they can like drop on the street. It'll make everything melt, but it doesn't really work very well with how it's like -9.
yeah, and you also run into the problem with black ice.
I haven't had any black ice recently,
That's good.
but yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, and I mean, probably driving. I mean, I would not be able to drive my car.
We just have so much snow. Like it just fell down like crazy. Like I don't know. This one person's balcony has like 50 inches of snow.
Is she going to shovel it off?
Uh-uh.
Is she dead?
She can't open the door. It's the balcony.
Isn't that going to, break the balcony?
That's what I thought. I was like, what if it's so heavy that it just like
Thankfully, she wasn't on the balcony at the time. Dum dum
it was
dum.
like I'll send it to you. It was like because like the way that the apartment building's shaped, she's like in the inner corner of like the courtyard. And so all the snow like blew from like both directions.
Dear
Oh,
God.
and then it like filled up like her apartment complex. It's like down here. So I mean, I guess it makes sense. And then maybe you wouldn't have seen it because it's actually something that like happened like locally. Like, did I save it?
Locally.
Yeah, it happened in our like East Village.
Sorry. I'm just really tired.
Did I tell you that I made like really, really awesome lasagna?
That sounds amazing. Do you
Okay,
want?
you have to check your phone. Yeah, your eyes look sleepy.
I think we should wrap this up in a few. What do you
Yeah,
think?
you're good. You're good. I'm down to wrap it up too.
All right. Oh boy. Oh boy. Well, you people cannot see, but there is a lot. Wow. I like the second image. That would be an awesome Airbnb.
For $200 a night.
$200. Oh wow, that looks like an amazing lasagna.
I made a lasagna because that's what you do
You
when the
remember what
weather
I told
sucks.
you? I literally commented, I'm like, what are you, Garfield? Like this the way I was like, I made lasagna. If you watch Garfield, you made lasagna.
Oh, it was so good, dude. Like I could make it better, but it was damn good.
Okay,
It's
next time you're making this when I'm around, so I can try this, and then I can finish it for you.
I wish I could like make a lasagna and like package it like in like dry ice and like overnight ship it like
We're not that bouge.
FedEx.
I wish we were, but that would be so expensive.
Ship you my lasagna. It'd be like $50
Yeah.
to ship the lasagna overnight in some dry ice.
Yes,
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, isn't it?
it is. I mean, but the lasagna didn't cost $50 to make.
No. I did buy the bougiest shit I could find though. The yeah, I didn't get a laugh out of you with that. And so I was like waiting for it. I'm like, is that funny that I bought the bougiest ingredients I could find? I did. I bought this jar of sauce that was like $9.99 for like the
Dear
jar.
Lord.
Like I was
Dear
like,
Lord.
damn.
$9.90.
I thought
Okay.
that was pretty good. I was like, ooh, we ain't fucking around.
This is bouge.
Well,
Okay.
because like I like looked up, you ever like go grocery shopping, you like automatically look like lower because that's like where the better prices are. I thought to myself, I was like, you want this lasagna to be good? Look up. I like looked up and like one of the bottles of sauce was like $11.99, and I was like, shit, $12 for a bottle of spaghetti sauce, huh?
That's been preserved with chemicals.
Yeah, you think so? I don't know.
Probably.
Tomato,
I mean, but if
basil.
it tastes good, that's all that matters. You know, if it doesn't taste good, it's a problem. It's a big problem.
It's good.
Ah, boy.
Okay.
All right.
Love you, David.
Love you too. Well, listen, people, we love you. It's been fun catching up with you. If you want to check out more of Karissa, you can find her at American Groove Pod. And if you want to check out more of the podcast, find us on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. Lost in the Groove Pod. All right. We love you, and we'll catch you on the next one. Yes.
Thank you.
Yay. All right.